stop for a moment. Before you rush, before you let the wave of the moment carry you forward without thinking. Because there is a heartbeat of time, a single, extraordinary pause that most women move through without realizing what it contains. The moment right before deep intimacy begins. Most people treat it as a threshold to cross quickly, a breath held, eyes closed, a surrender to what comes next. But what if I told you that this pause, this small, quiet, electric second, is actually the most powerful moment in the entire experience of physical closeness? What you do inside it, how present you are, how intentional, how fully yourself you choose to be, determines everything that follows. Not just tonight, but in his memory, in his body, in the way he thinks about you in the quiet hours when no one else is around. My name is Dr. Nerita, and in 12 years of working with women navigating intimacy after 60, I have heard this described more times than I can count. The moment she truly showed up, not performing, not managing, not hoping he wouldn't notice whatever she was insecure about, but fully, radiantly present, that was the moment everything changed. For both of them. Today, I'm going to walk you through 6 specific ways to inhabit that moment so completely that it becomes unforgettable. Not because you did something dramatic, but because you brought yourself, all of yourself, into a moment that most people simply rush through. This is not about technique. This is about presence. And presence at 60 and beyond is the most powerful thing a woman can offer. Before we begin, please hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and drop a comment below telling me where in the world you're watching from. I love knowing who's in this community. Let's begin. Here is the myth that quietly robs women over 60 of the most fulfilling intimacy of their lives. The belief that what makes a moment unforgettable is what you do. The right move, the right look, the perfected gesture, the technique borrowed from somewhere that promised results. As if intimacy were a performance to be executed correctly. After 12 years of clinical work in relationship wellness, I want to tell you clearly that belief is wrong, and it is costing women something precious. The moments that men remember, truly remember, the ones that stay with them not just as sensation but as meaning, are never the moments of perfect performance. They are the moments of genuine presence. The moments when a woman was so fully herself, so completely in the room, so unguarded and real, that he felt something beyond physical attraction. He felt chosen, seen, trusted with something rare. That cannot be faked. It cannot be performed, but it absolutely can be cultivated. And the 6 things we're going to explore today are not tricks. They are doorways into a deeper quality of presence that will change not just how he experiences you, but how you experience yourself in these moments. Intimacy after 60 is not diminished. It is distilled. Everything unnecessary has fallen away, and what remains is the capacity for a depth of connection that simply wasn't available in earlier decades. Let's walk into it together. Number 1, eye contact. The look that reaches somewhere words cannot. Let me ask you something honestly. In your most intimate moments, where are your eyes? For many women, especially women who carry self-consciousness about their bodies, their age, the changes that decades bring, the answer is often anywhere but his face. Looking away, eyes closed, retreating inward to manage whatever is being felt. And I understand that completely, but I want to show you what you lose when you do it. I worked with a woman in her mid-60s who had returned to intimacy after several years alone following a difficult divorce. She came to me not because anything was wrong, but because something was missing. The physical closeness was there, but it felt like 2 people in the same space rather than 2 people truly meeting. I asked her one question. Where are your eyes when you're most afraid of being seen? She was quiet for a long time. The following week, she told me she had tried something. In the moment right before intimacy deepened, she had made a choice to hold his gaze, steady, soft, without looking away. She said, his whole body changed, like something released in him. And then he said the next morning that my eyes had reached somewhere he didn't know he had. This is not a coincidence. It is neuroscience. Eye contact at close range triggers a powerful oxytocin response in both people, the bonding hormone that creates feelings of deep attachment and safety. It activates what researchers call the social engagement system, the neurological network responsible for genuine human connection rather than simple physical transaction. When you hold his gaze in that vulnerable moment, you are communicating something that no words can carry. I am here. I am choosing this. I am not afraid of being seen by you. And for a man, especially a man over 60, who has spent decades in a world that rarely offered him that quality of genuine recognition, that look is unforgettable. Not because it is seductive, because it is real. Number 2, the whisper. What a lowered voice does to a man. There is something about a whisper that a full voice can never replicate. Not just in intimacy, but in any moment of genuine closeness. When someone lowers their voice and speaks softly, directly to you, something in the brain registers it as private, as an exclusive, as a communication meant for no one else in the world but you. And in a moment of physical closeness, that exclusivity is one of the most powerful things you can offer. A whisper says, "This is not a performance for anyone's benefit. These words are only for you. You are the only person in my world right now." Neurologically, the soft register of a whisper activates the parasympathetic nervous system, the branch responsible for relaxation, openness, and genuine receptivity. It lowers cortisol. It deepens the sense of safety. And it makes the person receiving it feel, at a biological level, that they are in a protected and intimate space. What you say matters less than you think. His name spoken softly, a single honest sentence, even a breath shaped into a word. The content is secondary to the quality, the deliberate softness, the closeness, the sense that these words are a gift given only to him. I'd love to ask you something, and I genuinely mean this. If you were to whisper something to him at that moment, what would it be? Share it in the comments below. Not as performance, but as reflection. Because the women who have thought about this, who have given themselves permission to know what they would actually say, carry that clarity with them into the moment. And it changes everything. Number 3, breath, the rhythm that says everything without a word. Of all 6 things we're covering today, this is the one that surprises women most when they truly understand it. Your breath in that moment before everything deepens is not a background function. It is a communication. It is a rhythm. And it has the power to set the pace for everything that follows, without a single word being spoken. Here is the science. In states of genuine emotional intimacy, the nervous systems of 2 people begin to synchronize. Breath rate, heart rate, even subtle physiological rhythms start to mirror each other. Researchers call this physiological synchrony, and it is one of the most reliable biological markers of deep emotional connection between 2 people. This means that how you breathe in that moment shapes how he breathes, and how both of you breathe shapes the entire quality of the experience that follows. A slow, intentional breath, ribs expanding, long exhale, completely unhurried, communicates to his nervous system. There is nothing to rush here. We have all the time in the world. I am fully present. And his body responds, not because he consciously decided to, but because yours invited him into a different state. I once worked with a woman in her late 60s who described this perfectly. She said her partner had told her, "I don't know what you do, but the moment you take that breath, I feel like I've been given permission to slow down." He didn't even know he'd been following her. He just knew something shifted. Practice this before you need it. 3 slow, conscious breaths. Feel your shoulders drop. Feel the tension in your jaw release. Feel the quality of your presence change. That breath is not just preparation. It is the first gift you give him. Number 4, touching his face, the gesture that turns desire into devotion. There are gestures so simple and so ancient that they carry meaning no words have ever been able to fully capture. The act of reaching for a man's face, cupping his jaw, letting your fingertips trace his cheek, resting your palm gently against his skin is one of them. It does something remarkable in that moment. It slows everything down. It shifts the entire quality of the encounter from urgency into tenderness, from heat into something that also holds warmth. And it communicates in the most physical and immediate way possible, something that he may not have felt in a very long time, that he is not just desired, he is honored. At 60, 65, 70, a man carries his years on his face, the lines, the changes, the evidence of everything he has lived through. And in a culture that rarely honors the aging male body, the act of a woman reaching for his face and holding it with genuine care, not despite those years, but including them, is profoundly moving. I worked with a woman who told me her partner had teared up the first time she did this. Not from sadness, from something he described to her afterward as being seen in a way I hadn't realized I needed. This gesture does not need explanation or preparation. It needs only presence and intention. Let your hands move slowly. Let them be tender. Let him feel that what you are touching is not just his face, but his whole story, and that you find it beautiful. That is the moment desire becomes devotion. For both of you, number 5, saying his name, the sound that brings him fully present. Psychologists have known for decades that a person's own name is neurologically unique. It activates regions of the brain that no other word reaches in quite the same way. It is the sound most deeply tied to identity, to the sense of self, of being real, of mattering. And in a moment of physical closeness, hearing your name spoken by someone who is fully present with you does something extraordinary. It breaks the anonymity of sensation. It makes the experience personal in the deepest possible sense. It says, I am not simply here. I am here with you, specifically. No one else. You. I once worked with a woman in her early 70s who told me she had developed a simple habit in intimate moments. Just before closeness deepened, she would say his name, slowly, like it was the most important word she knew. She said the effect was immediate and consistent. He would still, his breath would catch, and his eyes would find hers with an expression she described as coming home to himself. He told her later, when you say my name like that, I stop being afraid of being seen because I know who I am to you. That is the power of naming, not as a technique, not as a rehearsed move, but as an act of genuine recognition. You are acknowledging that the person you are with is irreplaceable, that this moment belongs to him and to you and to no one else. Say it softly. Say it like you mean it, because if you are in this moment with him, you do. Number 6, the pause, the most underestimated gift you can give. And here we arrive at perhaps the most counterintuitive of all 6. In a moment that is naturally moving forward, that is gathering its own momentum, to pause, to hold the stillness for just a breath longer than feels comfortable, to refuse to rush. Most of us are conditioned to bridge silence quickly, to fill space, to move through the in-between moments as efficiently as possible. But in intimacy, the pause is not empty. It is full of presence, full of intention, full of the kind of anticipation that transforms a physical moment into a memory that lasts. When you hold that pause, something shifts in him. The urgency that was building transforms into something deeper. Desire sharpens into longing, and he becomes aware in a way that rushing would never allow of exactly where he is and who he is with. Biologically, a deliberate pause activates heightened sensory awareness and deepens the emotional significance of what follows. The brain marks the moment as important, as chosen, as something different from mere habit. But beyond the science, the pause communicates something essential. It says, I am not giving myself away quickly. I am choosing this. I am choosing you, with my full awareness, with all of myself present. And there is nothing more powerful in intimacy or in life than being chosen deliberately by someone who is fully awake at the moment of choosing. Hold the pause. Let him feel the weight of it. And then from that place of complete presence, let the moment continue. Here's what these 6 things look like when they come together naturally. You take one slow, deliberate breath. Your shoulders drop. Your jaw softens. You arrive fully in your own body. Your eyes find him and stay there. Not performing, not checking, not managing, just present. You let your hand reach for his face, slowly, tenderly, without rushing the gesture. You say his name, softly, like it is the only word that matters right now. You whisper something true, something that belongs only to this moment, only to him, and then you pause. One heartbeat longer than feels necessary. You let the fullness of the moment exist before you move through it. None of this is complicated. None of it requires youth or a perfect body or any special skill. It requires only the willingness to be present fully, completely, without apology in a moment that deserves all of you. I want to say something directly to every woman watching this who has quietly wondered whether deep, meaningful, truly felt intimacy is still available to her. It is. Completely. Without question. In fact, every woman I have worked with who found the most profound intimacy of her life, the kind that left her partner changed, the kind that she herself described as unlike anything before, found it after 60. Not despite her age, because of everything her age had given her. Self-knowledge, the release of performing, the capacity to be present rather than impressive, the willingness to bring her full, real self into a moment instead of a curated version of it. Those things are not available at 30. They are earned, and they are yours. Intimacy after 60 is not a quieter version of what it once was. It is richer, more intentional, more honest, more capable of genuine depth than anything that came before. The 6 things we explored today, the steady gaze, the deliberate whisper, the intentional breath, the tender touch, the sound of his name, the held pause, these are not techniques to be executed. They are invitations to show up fully in a moment that deserves your full presence. When you bring all of yourself into that moment, not performing, not managing, but genuinely there, you create something that cannot be replicated and will not be forgotten. Not because you did something extraordinary, because you were someone extraordinary, fully present, fully alive, fully yourself. That is unforgettable at any age, but especially at this one. If this video gave you something today, a new thought, a moment of recognition, or simply the reminder that you are still fully in your power, please like it right now and share it with a woman in your life who needs to hear it. Subscribe so you never miss the honest, thoughtful intimacy and wellness content I put out every single week. Leave me a comment. Tell me where you're watching from. Tell me which of these 6 things you're going to bring into your next intimate moment. I read every comment, and I mean that genuinely. This is Dr. Nerita reminding you that the most unforgettable version of you is not your youngest version. It is your most present one. Go be her.